For this project, I'm going to be using 4mm and 3mm cotton cords, which is available for purchase on my social media accounts. We are going to use wood with 13 inches length. Then, I'm going to attach 20 cords with 10 feet length each by making a lark's head knot. From the top, allot 6.5 inches. But before that, let me just get my 4 middle cords. Okay, so this one is my 4 middle cords. And from these cords, I'm going to start making my first square knot. Then I will also make 2 square knots on both sides. So for the first row, we'll have 5 square knots. So for the first row, we have 5 square knots here. And then for the second row, we have to make 6 square knots. So we're gonna work in between this square knots that we have on the first row. Since we'll be needing 6 square knots, I'll be getting these 2 cords on the side. We'll also do this on the left side. So we were able to make 6. Now for the third row, we're gonna add another one. So we should have 7 square knots. For the fourth row, we're gonna have 8 square knots. Then for the fifth row, we're gonna have 9 square knots. So we were able to create 5 rows. Now we're gonna add 2 more rows. Down to our last row. So basically, this will be the head part of our skull. The next thing that we have to do is to get our middle square knot, this one. Then we're gonna do 2 square knots below this. Then make another one in the middle. Then let's start working on the sides. So skip these 2 cords and make another square knot here. And then get your 8 cords. So we have this 4 and then 4 here. So we have 8 cords. We're gonna do 5 rows of square knots. So this is the 5 rows of square knots that we have. This is the same thing that we're gonna do on the other side, but let me show you what we're gonna do in this middle part. So basically, we'll also work with 8 cords, just like what we did on the side, and then I'm gonna add 4 more rows. So here's the 4 rows that we just added. So before we add 5 rows on this side, let me just add 1 square knot first, and then get your 8 cords and start adding that 5 rows. Same thing as what we have on the other side. So this should be the eyes part of our skull. Now time to work on the lower part. So get these 2 cords from this one and then 2 cords from this. And we're gonna make a square knot. And then same thing, get these 2 cords and then 2 cords here and make another square knot. Let's do the same thing onto this side. Now time to work on the nose area up to the mouth. Then we're gonna add one more square knot here. We are kind of making a triangle on this area. So we're gonna complete the nose part by making square knots on this area. Now time to work on the mouth area. So I'm just gonna add 3 square knots for this row. Then I'll just add one more diagonal row on this side. So let me start making square knot here. Then using this cord and this cord, I'll make another square knot. So this will be our last square knot. So we are now aligned with the last 3 that we just created. So we'll also do the same thing onto the other side. Okay, so we have 5 here. And then get your 8 cords from this side again. We're gonna make 4 rows of square knots. So here's your 4 rows. You'll also do the same thing, of course, onto the other side. Now time to close the mouth area. So from this side, I'm gonna make a square knot. So it should be aligned with these 2 square knots below. Then we'll add another row with 4 square knots. Then we'll add one more with 3 square knots. Let me add a few more square knots on this side. This is to add detail on the jaw area. For the flower crown, I'm gonna be using this 3mm cotton cord. I'll cut 2 cords with 14 inches length each. I'll start in the middle and then I'll attach this on these 2 cords. Hope you already watched my other video, how to make berry knot, because to start with the rose knot, I'll basically do a berry knot first. So I'll make 2 full square knots. So we have 2 full square knots here, and then these 2 cords in the middle, we're gonna insert them through this loop and then pull it tight. And then just to secure this berry knot, I'm gonna create another knot here. And then let me gather all these cords and then twist them. Then I'm just gonna wrap this around and insert the rest of the cords through. And then pull it tight. And what we're gonna do with the rest of the cords here, we're gonna hide it behind. And there you go, we have our first rose knot. My plan is to fill this in with 3 different colors. This time, I'm working with my pastel peach cord, which is available on my Instagram and Facebook page. So just message me there if you're interested to buy one. There is also another way to wrap your rose knot, which is to gather these 2 cords and then twist them together. And then what you can do is to wrap this first. And then do the same thing on this twisted knot. And then let's just simply tie this together. Same thing, we're gonna hide this behind. So I'm still using the same length for these 2 cords. I'm using 14 inches length each. If you want a bigger rose, of course, you can cut your cords longer than 14 inches. Like for this mint green, I cut this 16 inches length each. And with this length, I'll be able to create 3 full square knots. For this one, I'll use the same wrapping process as I did on the pink rose. This rose is quite bigger compared to these 2. So I was able to make 7 roses for the first row. If you're happy with this, it's actually up to you, but for me, I would just like to add 1 more row on top. So I'll add them in between these 2 roses that I have on the first row. Almost done on the second row of my rose knot, but I think I'll add 1 more rose on this area since I have a small gap. Again, if you want variation in terms of sizes, you could just play around with length of your cords. Back part is quite messy, but don't you worry, it's a beautiful mess. You could just fix it and cut them. For the bottom part, you could just simply cut it straight or make a barrel knot. If you've done some of my projects, you'll probably notice that I love making barrel knots at the bottom part because it also secure and prevent the cords from fraying. Detailed guide on how to make a barrel knot is also available in the description box. Hope you like this tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe and see you on my next video.